All right. Today's adventure. Well, what we're going to do is that we're going to work on something that'll help our kerosene lantern work a little better in terms of lighting it or preheating it. And you've seen probably here before that I've got this this gizmo which I put together here, which I used a plastic straw from a just a regular household cleanser bottle, which worked all right. Bent it into, I wanted to have a curve, but it ended up being a 90. I mean, it still works. It squirts out alcohol and all this other kind of stuff, but it is made out of plastic. And if you ever ran out of fuel and you wanted to restart a lantern, that you'd put this in there, you'd probably melt this right off, and then you'd be in a world of hurt. So the right thing to do is to actually use a brass tube, so that way you can put it in there and you won't have any problems with it. This one here is a 1/8 inch brass tube, and this is from K&S Precision Metals. This is just picked up at a hobby store, and it was just, a couple of bucks or something like that. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find stuff like this. When I was, here's like when I was young. But anyway, when I was much younger, finding little tubes or other kind of little metal shapes like this were super easy. You'd find either brass, or like it says here, brass, aluminum, copper, tin, tubing, rods, strips, sheets, and all this other kind of stuff. And like, man, now it's really hard to find like a decent hobby shop. And so anyway, we got this one. So I was really excited to see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically refit this one with this, and I could yank this out of here, which maybe I'll do that. Let's see how good the hot glue job is. Well, it's actually pretty good. It really doesn't want to move at all. So because I did basically that. I mean, I nipped this off till the tube would fit in there, and then I basically filled the inside of this with hot glue, and you can kind of see the inside of it there, what it looks like. And then when I put it in there, I tipped it forward, because whenever you're filling, you're usually doing like this, so that keeps the straw down at the point where it is, and so that seems to work the best that way, because you very rarely would fill it totally straight. Anyway, these are just a 98-cent squeeze bottle that I picked up from Walmart. I don't like them a whole lot because they don't seal up here very well, and also, when you're going on a trip with these things, you do not want to transport your alcohol in this bottle, because as you get outside air pressure that changes, you can actually get it to squirt out alcohol just like that into your vehicle, which would probably be a bummer. But actually, seeing as how poorly this thing actually seals, that might not ever actually happen. But nonetheless, because you can see, like right here, if I try to hold it up, and if I stop squeezing, it just goes right back down again. I have to keep a constant pressure on it to try to keep it up, because the container leaks so badly. So maybe that's a good thing or whatever. I just have some small little sample bottles that I decant this off into, and so that way when I'm traveling, I can just put it all in here, and these seal up completely fine. And then I can just take this, and I don't have to worry about anything leaking. So anyway, so there's that. So what I do have, since I bought more than one of these, I actually have another cap just like this. This is how you'd find them in the store, like so. But yeah, I would definitely try to find someone with better seal up here. I even tried making a seal for this, but the plastic is so wimpy and flimsy that anytime you try to put any kind of torque on it to get the gasket to seal, it just basically strips over the next thread, and it doesn't work very well. So at any rate, we're going to go ahead and do it with this cap, and we'll just have this one around for posterity, I suppose. So one of the first things we want to do is we want to see how we're going to get to fit in there. This obviously is smaller than a 1/8 inch tube, but not a whole lot smaller. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to extract our nowadays hard to find tube, and without hopefully bending it any more than we have to. And we'll see exactly how far we have to go through there. Looks like to be very little. Only the very bare end of it needs to be nipped off, And so what I'm going to do is just do that with a utility knife here and just get the very, very end of it off. So let's see. I always try to do as little as possible because you can always take more off. You just probably can't put it right back on. So that's not quite enough yet. Give it another go. Of course, this will probably be too big. Who knows? We'll see. We getting there? That's a pretty snug fit, and that's what I like to see. I want to have something that has a bit of a snug fit to it. So that's good. And then we also want to create a nice gentle curve in this. And so the way that we're going to do that is we're going to, if you try to bend a tube like this, no matter how gently you try to bend it, you're gonna kink it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this with sand, and we'll see how well that goes. I've got some funnels here. It's bound to be messy, so we can probably put this in here and kind of hope for the best a little bit. But what we want to do is we want to fill this with sand. So once the sand is in there and it's completely full, then we won't have to worry about collapsing the tube because the sand will prevent that from happening. So what I'm going to do is on this other end here, I'm just going to tape this up because I don't want to have sand launching out the other end. So this will cork that up. We're going to do this, which, oh man, I can already tell this is going to just be a bad idea. But let's see how far we can go before we get completely blocked up. About that far. So yeah, I probably should have strained the sand a little bit finer because it is way too many particles in here. So yeah, let me go do that. We'll be right back. Okay, so here's the magic solution. I've already strained a fair bit of this. This actually worked even better than I anticipated. And basically just kind of tap this all the way through there. I mean, hey people, it's straining sand, right? Nothing magical, but this gets rid of all of those small rocks and stuff like that. In fact, what I'll do just for the heck of it, I'll just run it through the mesh one more time. So see what happens. But this should give us the really, really fine powdery sand that we want to have. And hopefully most of it stays in my beaker. There we go. So that's the last bits of that. And so now we have some very, very fine sand and a mess on the desk, which is normal, right? Okay, let's see if we actually got any in here. No. Okay, so this should work pretty good, I'm thinking. Let's see what happens. I'll just kind of have to tap this in here. Of course, I'm not sure, is it actually going in? Oh man, like almost nothing going in. Wow. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting kind of thing here. How we're going to actually get that to go in there. All right. Well, you guys got the concept. I'm not going to bore you with it. So let me go ahead and do this, and then we'll be right back. Okay. So now we have a tube filled with sand on both ends. Here I've got them taped off so the sand doesn't escape, and all we need to do is find something that we can wrap this around, and then the sand inside will keep the tube from collapsing, and we'll get a nice bend. And so I'm just kind of looking around here. What will give me a nice bend? I don't know, that radius that's kind of sharp. This radius here, it's kind of a nice gentle bend. So we'll use this. We'll just kind of wrap it around this here. So we'll find a spot that doesn't have any markings on it, and then we'll just kind of start to bend this right around it, just like this. And the sand is working its magic inside because I had a really beautiful looking bend, no, whoops, more like this, no collapsing of it. Maybe I need to go a little bit more with that, because it wants to spring back a little bit. Okay, and then that'll give us a little bit of a down angle. I actually kind of like that a lot. So there you go. So there is a really nice looking bend in it, and all it took was a little bit of sand in the tube and a strainer and some patience. and away we go. So yeah, that actually worked quite nice. Now, trick will be, can we get all of the sand out of here? Well, guess we'll find out. So if all else fails, I've got a air compressor. I can convince it to do its thing, but a few taps here ought to get it all out. Okay, that seems good. Yep, no restrictions. That's great. Need maybe a little bit of that alcohol. Man, that duct tape just really got sticky super fast, so that's just nasty. I don't want any of that gooey stuff on here, so we'll get that off of here real quick. Well, I said it'd be real quick, but apparently it is pretty unimpressed by denatured alcohol. Right. Almost. We may have to step things up into the acetone arena. All we're doing is just getting rid of the sticky residue from the duct tape, which built up on there like unbelievably fast. So this should take it off, though. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay. I like the smell of acetone. I don't know why. Anyway. Okay. There's that. Now we got to figure out how long we need to make this, because we're gonna go ahead and cut it. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to stick this back through here like this. And that's not going to really work now, is it? So we want to go ahead and figure out how much do we want sticking out, how much should we get off. Let's see, how much was this one sticking out? About like that. We could probably go with a little bit more. So yeah, that probably looks about right, somewhere in there. Yeah, I like it. So I've got a super tiny tubing cutter, because if you don't use a tubing cutter, you're going to crush the tube. So we're going to use this tubing cutter here, and see how well it works. I haven't used this tubing cutter in a long time, so we'll see how it goes. But a little crank, a couple of twists. Probably better if I had my peepers on. Yeah, when you're using these, you want to try not to tighten it down in the same spot every time. Otherwise, you end up putting a dent in the pipe. Obviously, for this, it's not super critical, but if you're doing other plumbing and stuff like that, and you're using a compression fitting, you want to make sure that you try to have it in a little different spot every time that you tighten it down. Oh, this is slow going here. I'm going to be through it any minute, though, I think. I bet you someone's out there going to be watching is like, did he actually stop it in a different spot every time? I don't know, did he? Well, guess we'll watch and find out. Let me know in the comments if I did it wrong. Okay, this is like taking about 100 times longer than I expected, honestly. Usually these go through pretty quick, but I'm also trying not to like crank it down super tight, because I really don't want to flatten the tube. But yeah, it's really taking a lot longer than I expected. So sorry for the extended brass spinning here. There she goes. Okay, so nice clean cut off of it. Oh, probably should have let you see that for more than about a millisecond. So nice clean cut. A little bit of brass left over. We'll stick this through here. and then put it in our bottle and see what we got. So yeah, so that looks really nice. So around here somewhere is a kerosene lantern. Where are you? Here you are. So now I can be able to go up in here and turn this around. So I can see right now I've made my my snoot a little bit long because it's wanting to overshoot. So it's a good thing I checked this out. I probably need to take about 1 inch of that off to get it to go in the right spot. So that is a good thing. So yeah, it needs to come off about like that much. So here we go again with this. It's kind of surprising. I thought it wouldn't have needed to be quite that short, but it is. I think it's probably because of the curve that I put on it. So hopefully we can get this one to go a little faster, because I can really whip it around here. Sooner or later we're going to be through this. Yeah, I was thinking that, yeah, we're almost done now. There we go. I was thinking that with the longer one it would have been better, but it definitely was not a better solution. So let's try this again. Go up through here like this. Oh yeah, right in there. So there you can probably see now. Just put it so it goes right into the cup. Super easy. Yep, perfect. So that's what you want to do. So, yeah, measure once, cut something, I don't know. So what we're going to do now to make all this work like we want is that we're going to fill this up with some hot glue. So probably what I should have been doing is I should have had this thing already plugged in and doing its thing, so that way we wouldn't be waiting. But we will get this going. But yeah, so that is that is how you get that to go. So what I'm going to do also is that once I fill this up with the hot glue, I'm going to put it right back in here, and then I'm going to hold it. And you see I'm holding it just like this. I want to make sure that I'm not absolutely at the bottom, because then I'll get stuck with flow that's in there. I mean, you won't be able to suck up the fuel through there. So so yeah, so I've got it about the right length. It's just got a little bit of clearance. You know, you want to have it down there so you get just about everything out of there, but not so so short that you end up choking off the pipe by ramming it against the bottom. So yeah, so we'll fill this up, and you know, you can really goop it up in there, and I recommend you moving it around, try to get it all the sides all the way around it, and because it'll stay hot for a while because of the there's going to be so much thermal mass from the amount of hot glue that's going to go in there, and so it'll give you some time to position it, and then you'll just be able to screw it in and then tip it like this, and then and away you go. So yep, and actually really you don't even have to screw it in. You just have to have it tipped like this back, so that way when you do use it and you tip it forward, that straw, the tube ends up at the very bottom. So yeah, I don't know how long is this going to take. Oh yeah, we're going pretty quick. That's good. Not too much excess babbling required. So I'm going to kind of get this basically centered in the middle, and then I'm just going to start filling and really fog it in there, because you really want it to have an airtight seal, and then you can kind of move it around and get it in the other side there, and then it's like that. Just kind of, oop, I want it this way. I want it this way, right? Yeah, so let's try to put a little bit more on this side. There we go. Yeah. So you'll see, it's a bit of a mess, but how this has all kind of become translucent because it's completely filled. And so that way now, when I screw this into here, it's going to be all the way down to the bottom, just like this. And whenever I pour it in there, it's going to have it down at the bottom right where it's supposed to be. But that's it. That's how you make one of these fillers. You don't have to go spend a whole lot of money. I mean, this bottle was 98 cents. You can probably find a little better one. Then the brass tube, I think, was maybe $2, something like that. And then a little bit of sand, and there you go. You've got a really nice fill bottle that'll withstand heat and work great. So yeah. So just as the last show here, now that we've got everything all solidly attached, that goes right into the cup. I can fill it up nice and easy. I don't have to worry about any kind of heat affecting it like I did with the old version. So anyway, that's it. So enjoy and make yourself one for a couple of bucks instead of going and trying to find one for the big cost that you pay online. Anyway, that's it for this one. Until next time, keep them lit.